Too often when I've been playing Stardew Valley, I've been asked, Anusha, what mods are you using? Your game looks so pretty. It looks so different from the vanilla version. How do you have all your chests, all your organization in one spot? And to that, my answer is, let me make you a video of my most essential mods for Stardew Valley so that you can pick and choose which ones you want in your game and which ones I highly recommend. So let's get right into it, shall we? One thing I've noticed whenever I open Stardew Valley is the bright colors that I'm greeted by. It makes my eyes burn at times. This is no shade to Eric Baroni, but I swear there is this mod called Vintage Interface mod, which turns all of your UI into this very cream vintage cottagecore aesthetic, and I absolutely adore it. Now that you have your UI looking so pretty, it's very vintage, very pretty aesthetic, why wouldn't you want the interiors of your homes as well as the town interiors to kind of match the same vibe? Go with the rustic country vibe if you must. I'm going to show you two mods that I really enjoy. One is the rustic country town interiors mod, and another is the rustic country walls and floors mod. What both of these mods do is they basically give your homes and the homes of the NPCs and the buildings within a very rustic vintage country feel, and it's just so beautiful because it makes everything very subdued, if I must. It tones down the color palette, makes it a bit unsaturated as well, and gives you a lot of different shades of cream and brown and beige. It makes me feel so good on the inside. And since we're anyway talking about the interiors, let me introduce you to Mies and Maggie Matika's country furniture. Check it out. How absolutely stunning is this? It is so beautiful. It is so well done. All the furniture gives a very, very, like your cowboy feel. If you're into that kind of vibe, I highly recommend this mod. It's so gorgeous. You need this in your life. And talking about something you need in your life, look at these cozy warm fireplaces. They are so beautiful. They would really match the aesthetic of the rustic country or the vintage aesthetic that you're trying to go for, and it really just fits in. So I would highly recommend getting this one as well. I think I'm done talking about the interiors, so I'm going to move on to the exteriors. And I'm going to say something very shocking, so please do not click off the video. But I have 6 different mods for grass. First, let's get started with the wildflower grass field. What this does is that it adds a total of 52 new grass and flower variations for all 4 seasons. And what it does is that it makes you look like you're running through a meadow of flowers and such beautifully designed grass. As weird as it sounds. An alternate to that is Elle's grass replacement. I also highly recommend Junie mods. I find that they have different animal mods as well that are very cute, but I would recommend their grass replacement mod as well in case you don't want the wildflower grass field mod. So for Elle's grass replacement, it is very similar to the wildflower grass field. It just makes it such that with every season you get different grass. You can do either shorter grass or taller grass, and it's a very beautiful mod. And I know I've been talking a lot about different colors of grass, but I would highly recommend getting the more grass mod as well, because it just makes it such that you have a lot more grass starting off than you would in any other case. It just makes it seem like your whole area is full of beautiful grass. I love it. Talking about having more grass, I would also recommend getting the mod that makes it such that you can have grass grass in the winter as well. So once you go into the winter, for those of you that don't know, your grass disappears, and so this mod just makes it such that you can have your grass survive through winter. I know a lot of people have different areas that they've designated to be grassy areas, or they just want hay as well. I would recommend getting this mod 100%. I've also found a mod called Stardew Foliage Redone, which makes all of your trees, your bushes, and your grass very, very different. It can have different iterations like pinks and whites and greens and maples, and oof, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. One thing that I definitely struggled with this particular mod though was determining which one is an oak, maple, or pine tree. So 100% try to figure that out before you start playing with this mod. It helps a lot in the gameplay as is. And lastly, since we've been talking so much about coloring and whatnot, you need to have Daisy Nico's Earthy Recolor mod in Stardew Valley. It is so stunning. Basically what it does is that it recolors all of Stardew Valley in a very warm and earth-toned recolor that's very easy on the eyes. It's very pleasing and I just really enjoy it. You can obviously see the difference in these images that I'm putting up right now. It just makes everything very similarly toned and I like that aesthetic. It looks nice, I promise. I also recommend getting the seasonal fencing and the seasonal path and flooring mods. So for the seasonal path and flooring, it basically gives you new colors and designs for all floorings and paths with a little bit of a seasonal touch. Makes everything so in line with any of the color mods that you get in. It's very vintage, very cottagecore, very muted tones. I really enjoy it. The seasonal path and flooring is definitely a mod that I would highly recommend if you're installing mods. The seasonal fencing also redesigns all the fence and the fence gates, and it adds seasonal variants to them. As you can see on the screen right now, these fences are so gorgeous. And lastly, since we're talking about seasonal things, let's also talk about Elle's seasonal buildings. I really enjoy this mod. There are so many different iterations to this mod. It just makes it such that you can pick and choose whatever you want. You're customizing the outside. So basically you have a palette and a theme that you can choose between, and you can mix and match, and all of them end up looking so rustic and so beautiful. I love it. The mod that I use for my buildings in particular is the medieval buildings mod. So since I've been talking about like vintage, rustic, country, blah 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 blah, the medieval buildings mod is by far one of my favorite mods in Stardew Valley. Everything looks so beautiful. It's got different iterations as well, wherein you can add leaves and flowers and foliage to the top of your buildings. It just makes everything seem like you're in a fairy tale. And it's just amazing. I love it so incredibly much. Now, this is a clothing mod. It is called Lambiron's Oversized Sleeves, and I really like it. I never thought of having a mod that would make my sleeves longer. It just makes it look like you're a tiny little sprite with these long sleeves and you're just walking around in the valley. I really like how it looks actually. It makes it seem very dreamy, very cozy and comfy. So if you're into that kind of a vibe, I would recommend getting this mod. And since we're talking about looking comfy and cozy, let's talk about looking cute and in terms of our animals. So there's this person called Identity Pollution on Nexus Mods who has made about 8 different iterations for cuter, fatter animals. So what they've made is chunky little animals. You can get it for goats, chickens, dinos, bunnies, for void chickens, for pigs, for sheep, and for cows. It makes everything so round and so squishable. It's just a dream come true. And then lastly, this is my last cosmetic mod, if you will. And all it does is that it makes all of the sprites, all of the people that you're talking to, their portraits a different portrait. It just looks a bit more accurate somehow, and it looks very cute. And they have a version of Goth Haley. Do we need anything else? Like, these are so cute, right? I'm really hoping that they take out more iterations. I personally am waiting for Best Boy Sebastian to come out. Now, these next few mods are all mods that change the gameplay in some way or another. They don't break the game in any sort of way. It's just that if you've been playing the game for a while and you want to experience it a bit faster, I guess, it just helps with that and doesn't add too much anxiety or pressure. And I really enjoy these mods. They've always made me really enjoy the game without playing it basically on like hardcore mode, right? So let's start off with the tractor mod. All it does is that it makes you buy a tractor to work more efficiently. Basically, you're just sitting in your little tractor and like running it over the things, and it just harvests everything for you. Now, there's another mod called Platonymous Toolkit mod. All it does is that it acts as a toolkit for SMAPI mods, which I am assuming is what you would download to be able to download the mods. I followed this whole like YouTube tutorial. I'll put it down in the comments below as to how you can also mod your game. But I've found that this mod is basically a requirement for a lot of the other mods that I talked about earlier. So I would recommend downloading it as well. Now, this mod is a favorite of mine. I would not be able to play this game without this mod. And I would go as far as to argue that this mod should have been something that was implemented in the game from the get-go. All it does is that it helps you see all the NPCs and players on the map itself. So you can see little heads on the map and you can see where they are at the moment, where they're off to. So if you're not too familiar with everyone's schedules for the day in terms of where the NPC will be at a certain point in time, this mod really helps make it much better and easier to navigate. Now, if you've ever played Stardew Valley, you know that Stardew Valley also has something known as its wiki. So this mod called the Look Up Anything mod basically acts as an in-game wiki. So you can see live information about whatever is under your cursor whenever you press F1. You can learn a villager's favorite gifts, when a crop will be ready for harvest. You can also see which season, what time of day, etc. a fish will be available. So if you're much into completing games, this mod is the one for you. It just makes gameplay a lot easier and you don't have to constantly be referring to the Stardew wiki. The generic mod config menu is also kind of important because it adds an in-game UI to edit other mods configuration options. So once you click on the game and it starts up, there's going to be a little button on the side, and if you click on that button, you can change what kind of iterations you want for each of your mods. So for example, the medieval buildings mod, you can change whether or not you want extra foliage or not on top of the building itself using the generic mod configuration menu. Very similar to the Platonymous Kit mod, there is also a mod called Content Patcher. It basically loads content packs that change the game's images and data without replacing the XNB files. Now, personally, I have no idea what any of this means, okay? I just know that this mod has been a big requirement for a lot of other mods as well, so I would download it in any case. Now, some would argue that this mod kind of breaks the game, but also kind of maybe not. This is the Chests Anywhere mod. I personally would not be able to play this game without this mod. All it does is that whenever you press a certain button, it pulls up all of your chests. And you can label all your chests as well, choose a different color for the chests, and you can be, say, in the mines and you're about to die, but you don't want Linus to steal everything that you own once you die, so you can put away everything that's in your inventory currently in the chest at any given point. You also don't have to buy the big, huge backpack that Pierre likes to sell and save that gold. Now let's actually talk a little bit about farming. I have two mods that make farming better. So one is Better Ranching. What it does is that it prevents failing of milking and shearing attempts, and it adds an indicator whenever an animal can be pet, milked, or sheared. I really enjoy this mod. I think it's very well done, and those icons on top of the animals really helps you save a lot of time. And the second mod that I had for farming was the range display mod. It basically displays the range of your sprinklers, your scarecrows, bee houses, and Junimo huts, so you can ensure that your crops are watered won't be eaten by crows, and that your bee houses will produce special honey. I think it's a very good mod. It really saves time in calculating math, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Can you tell I don't like math? In any case, it really helps out. And lastly, for all of our lovers out there, this last mod is something that I think you would enjoy. It's called the Free Love mod. It basically allows for complex romantic relationships, including multiple spouses and roommate with spouse. I haven't gotten the chance to play this mod yet. I also want to experience the moment where all the bachelors or bachelorettes get to know that I've been dating each of them. So I just want to experience that moment before I install this mod. But if you've been looking to get such a mod, Free Love is for you. And so yeah, that is my list of all the essential mods that I think one needs when playing Stardew Valley. Let me know if there are any other mods that you really enjoy playing the game with in the comments down below. I really appreciate you all watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, do whatever suits your fancy today. And thank you for being here. I hope to see you on the next one. Just want to give you a quick update. I will be uploading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from now on. So yeah, let's look forward to that together. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!